Hi, Jeremy the Tall Trainer here, and we did a peanut butter and jelly sandwich lesson in our boot camp classes, where we had people measure out peanut butter and jelly and bread, and we actually had them weigh them in grams, write them on a little slip of paper there. And so we made a whole bunch of sandwiches, a couple sandwiches in each class. And if we look over here, we've got a whole bunch of numbers of what these measurements were. And so I guess maybe before I go too far, I have a warning for you. You know, because we're doing peanut butter and jelly as a lesson in boot camp in our classes, it doesn't make it a health food. It doesn't make it an anti-health food either. But we chose to use peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for the example because it's a common thing. Most people know what it is. It's easy to demonstrate measuring when we're using peanut butter and jelly. And it has a typical serving in the vitabot program that we use. And so the typical serving is something we're going to talk about a little bit in this lesson. But if you did a day's worth of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, 1,318 calories worth, it only becomes a 1.58 GPA. You can see there's lots of red in vitamins and minerals, a lot of F's in the vitamins and mineral category. So we know if we had just that, it's probably not the best food to have. So we're going to have some other stuff. There can be some healthy things you could get from it, but you are going to have to try to find other things that have more nutrition in them to supplement that. So we're not endorsing peanut butter and jelly just because we're doing this as an example. How many calories in each sandwich? So here is what we got. So we had people measure, lots of different people. They didn't get to see each other's measurements. They just made a peanut butter sandwich the way it seemed to be right to make. And I would argue that people tend to shade on the lighter side when they're making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in front of their personal trainer. So they might actually be a little bit more than this if they weren't in such a tested situation. When some of the things are more relaxed there and less time sensitive too. But we can see there's a big range here. In fact, none of these numbers are the same. There's a huge range. We have 331 is the low on the range, and it looks like 598 is the high, and numbers all throughout there. And so quite a bit of variability in these sandwiches that people made using the same type of bread, the same type of peanut butter, the same type of jelly. So if there's that much variability, imagine if you're off a couple hundred on some of those foods, you think you've had a 331, maybe you've had a 598. So you're looking at almost double the calories you think you're getting in with your food, or even just 100 calories. That's enough to really throw off your day. If you're off that much on all your food, you're going to be very, very off over the long term. Now, if we look at compared to typical serving is 330 calories in the vitabot program. That's one sandwich. So sometimes people say, I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. They just type peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and they put it in there and say, I had a sandwich. Boom, done, in. So if you log that, but you actually ate one of these 500 or 500 or more calorie sandwiches, you're going to be off quite a bit. You're inviting a lot of error into your food log and a lot of frustration, because if you think you're having 330 calories, but you're truly having 500 or 600 calories, you're going to feel like you're going hungry, while actually you're not. And so you think you should be losing weight, I should be losing tons of weight, and I'm stuck, I don't get it. And so a lot of times that is the cause. And measuring will help you narrow that down a bit more. So a couple of lessons that I want you to get from this. One, measurements are always different unless you're trying to hit a certain number. So when you're measuring, things, if you're trying to hit, if I'm saying, okay, I'm going to put this many grams of peanut butter on my sandwich, I stop when I put that much on there. If I put a little too much, I can even dab a little bit off and go there. That's the way you can make the measurements consistent. If you're just throwing things together, if you're not measuring at all, you're inviting tons of error. If you're just measuring after the fact, you're still having a lot of error in there. So measure ahead before you eat it. Measure it. Typical serving is like calling someone a typical human. So that typical serving of about 330 there, where is this? Because I don't see anything typical about any of these sandwiches. They look fairly typical. All these sandwiches look to be. I can't tell the difference between them necessarily. They look all there's bread with stuff stuck between them. But here we see the calorie amounts. There's nothing typical about any of these. And just like there's nothing typical about any of us people. I've never met a typical person. So don't be tempted into saying, well, I just had a standard with this. You didn't have a standard anything. Everybody makes their things differently. Everybody prepares their food differently. You've got to keep track of what you are doing as a person, not what a typical person is doing there. If you're off a little bit on the food, what if you're off on all of your food that way? Let's say you're 20% off. in a 2,000 calorie diet, you know, that 20% is going to be about 400 calories. 400 calories is enough to really frustrate you over the course of a day. You know, if even a lower calorie number, we've had people actually as much as 100% off. So they think they're eating 1,200 calories, really they're eating 2,400 calories. It's very easy to get too many calories in, and that's why I recommend, you know, doing measurements. Measurements do not take long. People learn that while we went through the lesson there. It's very quick to just get that weigh the bread, zero out the scale, you know, write the number down, get the peanut butter on there, write the number down, zero the scale, and do the jelly. It was very, very quick. So it doesn't take long. And what measurements do is they provide awareness. Results come from awareness. Measuring and logging create that awareness by allowing you to know what is going on. Now you have factual information, you have data to figure out, you know, what you're doing, what's going on, and now you can make decisions based on reality, not based on typical serving. You can make decisions based on, okay, this is actually how many calories I had, and that's actually how many calories are in that food. Do I want more of that? Do I want less of that? You know, is that going to help me or is that not helping me? And once you have the awareness of going through and actually tracking some of these things, you can make better quality decisions, which get you more results and less frustration. So that is the peanut butter and jelly lesson in a peanut shell. So this is Jeremy the Tall Trainer saying, have fun, be safe.